Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Well, let's crack on with today's first story, which is titled, Am I the Arsehole for leaving my own wedding because my husband embarrassed me? And this is from Mindless Charge 5996. I, female 27, my husband, male 29, have been together for 3 years. In those 3 years, I have never known him to be selfish. Occasionally immature, yes, but even that was rare. These problems arose when those stupid cake smashing videos got popular. My husband thought they were hilarious. I've never thought they were funny, and he knows that. Yet he was always showing me the videos of those poor wives getting the happiest day of their life ruined by their arsehole partner for some cheap laughs. He also knows I have a history with cake smashing. My family does the cake smashing thing. I remember it was my 17th birthday and I pleaded with my mum not to do it. She promised and I trusted her. I had my hair and makeup done, all nice and right, and as I blew out my candles, my mum pushed my head into the cake and one of the decorations on the cake ended up slicing my forehead. Not enough to go to the hospital, but enough for some substantial bleeding. My birthday was ruined, and after I wouldn't come out of my room. My mum still calls me a brat for that. I told him if he ever did something like that to me, I'd leave him. He started laughing, but I was being for real, though he really was not taking me seriously. Now skip to a few days ago when my wedding happened. Everything was perfect. I was happy, he was happy. I was excited for new lives as newlyweds. I felt like a princess in my poofy white dress and done up hair with perfect makeup. All very expensive things I would like to mention. We get to the cake cutting part, and as I turn to him, he scoops up a huge chunk of our wedding cake and smashes it all over my face. Everything just seemed to go in slow motion for a few moments. He's just laughing at me, then says, "You should see your face," and continues to laugh. Other people in the crowd, mostly my family, is also laughing at me. Then I just started walking away. He realized that I'm leaving and tries to catch up with me and says I'm being extra. I push him away and order an Uber. As I got outside, most of the crowd is following me, telling me to come back. I get in the Uber and drive away. I drove to our apartment and packed most of my things and went to stay at a hotel. I currently, though, am staying at my friend's house. My family and his family have been blowing up my phone for days, saying I'm being childish and my husband is a good man and it was just a joke. My husband has been calling me off the hook, telling me to please come home and that he wants to talk, that he's sorry and didn't think I'd get that emotional. This was supposed to be the happiest day of our lives and he embarrassed me in front of everyone for some prank that he knew I hated. Not only that, he ruined a $500 cake. He ruined my makeup, my hair, and the top of my dress. The cake got all over. Though I still do love him, I'm wondering if I was really hard on him. That seems to be everyone else's opinion. So, am I the arsehole? Now, I never understand this whole cake smashing thing anyway. Wasting cake, man, oh dear me. But you've already told him you've had a history with this kind of thing about what happened at your birthday, and he still decides to do this, and not only that, turns around and says you should see your face. And then when you're walking away, follows you and tells you that you're being extra, doesn't apologize, tells you that you're being extra. I've only ever seen something like this once, and it wasn't even like, I wouldn't even call it a cake smash. It was like a bit of the icing was put on someone's nose, but it was in front of a group of people and they really didn't like it and walked out the room. But that person had to follow them and apologize to them to get them to come back because they was embarrassed in that moment. But OP added a comment below on that one saying he apparently didn't plan this and it happened fairly quickly. So the only person who was recording that I know of was the person I paid to do it. I already messaged him not to give those recordings to anyone. I don't need that type of attention. God forbid it got out. Plus everyone was too busy laughing. Someone questions why he would do this and OP says, I guess maybe he thought he could change my mind. That is the only reason I can think of because that's the same thing that went through my mind. I don't even know if I will get back together with him. He's acting as if smashing a cake in my face was funny and that I was just being emotional. So OP did update the post and they said, update, I decided to speak to him bright and early this morning. I'm leaving him. Some of you might be happy about that and some of you might not be. I decided to call him and get his reasoning for why he did what he did. He told me he just thought it was a funny prank and that it was at the wedding on a happy day that he could change my mind. Plus, it was a tradition in my family that I wasn't following. He thought that he could get points with my family. Then he told me he's sorry, that I took it as disrespect. I told him he shouldn't be saying that he's sorry that I took it that way. He should be apologizing for hurting me. Where is the "I'm sorry"? I told him he hasn't apologized with accountability once. All his apologies have been backhanded. I also reminded him that I didn't have a good relationship with most of my family, nor my mother, who he forced me to invite. I told him he knew I was already the black sheep in my family, and the verbal abuse and public humiliation I received by my mother for years really messed with me, and he knew that. Then he says this: "Why should I have to apologize because you can't take a joke?" I blew up. I told him, "Are you serious? If it was me who hurt you to this degree, the first thing I'd do is apologize. Well, you can't even force yourself to be decent for a few seconds and just apologize to me." I also told him that he was trying to get in good with a family who abused me by public humiliating me, and that is something that is unforgivable. Marriage means you stick by me, yet you showed you obviously do not. It's not about you ruining my dress or my hair or even the cake. It's about how you knew how I felt about this and the trauma I had connected, and you didn't care. He then tried doubling down and saying it wasn't his fault for not apologizing because my family was telling him how dramatic I was and how I was hurting them by leaving the wedding for a joke. He said he loves me and he doesn't want to break up over this nonsense and that I should just come home. I told him I wasn't coming home and it wasn't even about the cake anymore. It's because I cannot be with a man who won't apologize when he's wrong and who gaslights their significant other into receiving the blame. He started cursing me out at this point, but after about a minute of hearing him scream at me, I hung up. I guess he started telling my family because within half an hour my phone was blowing up again. The worst ones had to be from my mother and his sister. My mother was telling me that I'm going to end up alone because I can't take jokes and I'll never be able to keep a man with my attitude, even saying that my clock is running out fast and when it did, no one will want me and I'll be alone. His sister was telling me that I'm a disgusting B-word for hurting her brother and wasting his time, that she wishes that he would have broken up with me 2 years ago when he first wanted to. So now I know he wanted to break up with me. What I also know is that he was cheating on me for 6 months with his ex who wanted him back, but then she dropped him because he stayed with me. The thing is, I had a good relationship with his sister and she knew he was cheating on me. I guess she put everything out on the table since I was leaving anyway. I blocked most of my family and I blocked all of his family. I also blocked him and I'm getting the annulment. My friend said I could stay with her for a few months till I get back on my feet. I told her I really appreciate it. So yeah, that's the end. I'm crying while typing this. I wasted 3 years on a man who never really cared about me. I've lost what little relationship I had with my family, and now I only have the few friends I've been blessed with. I'm going to have to pick up the rest of my stuff. I also told him before I blocked him, if he broke anything of mine, I would bring it to court. Thank you for all the kind words and encouragement. I'm going to go to sleep now since I haven't done so in 24 hours. OP's next updates. So my last post got taken down and I've gotten a lot of messages. I just wanted to update you all about a few things. I haven't gotten my stuff from my ex yet. I haven't had the energy to because I'm extremely upset, obviously. From the videos online to the comments I received on my original post to also the comments I looked at on my repost of my post. It kind of made me think that there was probably a lot of red flags and I was just used to being abused, so the bare minimum was enough for me. After speaking about it with my friend, she said that he definitely had a lot of red flags and she even told me I should stay far away from dating until I get some help because I was obviously not seeing the red flags right in front of me. I'm not going to go into it, but sometimes I'd have to cook 2 dinners for my ex because he didn't like everything I made. His mum apparently didn't get him used to vegetables, so he won't eat them, or making fun of my cramps on my period. That's some of what I was referring to when I said immature. Someone texted me saying if I was sure that he cheated on me. No, I'm not sure. At the moment, it just felt like it made sense because of how horrible he was being. Though they made a good point. His sister very much well could have just been trying to kick me when I was down since I was leaving anyway. I have no evidence and I probably will never have evidence. I blocked him just to tell him I was going to come over in a few days to get my stuff and if he could just not be there and I'd leave my keys. He said fine and that was it. So he will not be there when I get the rest of my belongings. I'll also bring a friend with me in case he does do something. I'm still not speaking to my family and I think I'm just going to go no contact like people suggested. I saw a video from a woman speaking about me, and someone in the comments said I was groomed into this treatment, which is why he felt it was okay to do this. Maybe she is right. When I get the financials in order, I think I'll try therapy and wait a few years before attempting to date anyone. I also kept getting this question: how did the Uber come so quick? The wedding venue was in the city, in a building. Uber took 30 seconds to order and 3 minutes to get there. Plus, who was really going to stop me from getting into the car? My husband gave up, to be honest, pretty fast once he saw me trying to get into the car. I thought it was weird, but I realize now. Playing victim because he didn't get his way. Some of you may be saying, how did you not realize you were being abused? I don't know. Sometimes it just happens that way. My brain is kind of dead at this point. Again, thank you to literally everyone for all the sweet comments, even people messaging me privately. I haven't responded to tell them all, but I will try since you took time out of your day to see if I was okay. And I really appreciate that. The people who say this is fake, I don't care. I went on this app because I figured I'd get a few comments and maybe some insight. I got that insight. Way more than I thought I'd get in a million years, and now I'm going to move forward with my life. So this is the last update. I'm going to respond to the PMs and then forget about this account and hopefully my old life. It's genuinely too depressing for me to think about. Edit. I'm okay though. I feel lonely and depressed, but I have my friends supporting me, so I'm not that alone. I'll be okay and get myself out of this hole. I realize this post is a bit too doom and gloom. Edits, I'll bring a policeman with me if you guys say that I should. And I really do hope that OP has moved on, got the help that they needed, and are living their best life right now, as they truly deserve it. An absolutely awful husband, an abusive mum, and obviously I don't want to minimize what OP's been through in any way, shape or form, but I can't help but think it's best that they got out of that situation when they did, otherwise they're going to have years more of this. But so glad she stood her ground and got out of that situation. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. And our next story does come with an update as well from Throwaway Downsizing from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit, and says, am I the arsehole for telling my fiance that if he expects me to contribute 50-50, we have to make some serious lifestyle changes? My 26 female fiance, 26 male, sat me down yesterday and gave me a long talk about how he feels like I don't contribute enough to the household, particularly in the financial sense. I was a bit caught off guard by this, but willing to hear him out since he wasn't wrong. He makes a lot more than I do, and we've always split bills accordingly, which ends up being about 80% him. I asked what he wanted me to pay now, and he was adamant about it being 50-50. I asked if everything was okay with his job or he needed to take fewer hours, and he wouldn't answer me. I honestly wouldn't have gone upset if there seemed like an actual reason behind it, but he just said he'd been thinking about it a lot, over and over. Every time I asked what brought him to this conclusion, what was going on, and eventually he just said, this is how it's going to be, take it or leave it. Those exact words. In response to literally everything I said, full shutdown, no explanations. I told him that was fine, I'll take it, then asked if he made a Zillow account yet or expected me to. He looked confused and asked why we would need a Zillow account. I explained that there's no way I can afford half the rent on our current place, so we'll probably have to move into a 1-bedroom apartment. He got mad and asked why I didn't have savings. I told him that I do, but I'm not paying rent out of my savings because that's a terrible and unsustainable idea. I also began to go over what our new food budget would be, our new entertainment budget, and that we'd probably have to sell our cars and get one less expensive one because I can't afford half the payments on an Audi and a Land Rover. Then I explained that the date nights would probably have to be reduced too, and we could still do like Buffalo Wild Wings or something, but I preferred Thursday nights because you get 2 orders of boneless wings for 1. Basically, if he wants me to pay half, we're living within my means, not his anymore. He kind of agreed to it, but since then, he's been incredibly angry. He's not saying or doing anything, but it's like he's walking around the house in this cloud of pissed off. I sent him 6 Zillow listings, all of which he's called uninhabitable for various reasons. Some of which I think were valid, others I disagree with. He's now saying that I'm being unfair and manipulative, and that he tried to come to me with a serious concern about our relationship, and I'm making it impossible for him to talk to me. I'm bulldozing it over him. Am I the arsehole? So there were some comments that asked OP questions and OP responded to. The first question was, can I ask what your salary and his salary are? Like general numbers. A charitable take on his actions could be that he resents not having more money and is trying to inspire you to try and up your salary or change into a more lucrative promotion or career so you can both be living the high life. He might be imagining how great it would be to have 200% of his income instead of 120%. If that's the case, he's still going about it in a shite and douchey way. Personally, I agree with many other comments, re, someone has insinuated that you're a gold digger, he's expecting you to break up with him. Not problem solve. Opie says I make around 35k a year. He makes around 120k a year. It's not like there's some magical be rich suddenly button I can press. I'm a preschool teacher and I don't have a college degree. And I certainly can't afford a college degree at this point without asking for help or taking out insane loans. Next commenter says, not the arsehole. To me, it sounds like something happened with his job and he's not able to tell you yet. For whatever reasons, I would try to have another calm chat about it with him. Also showing him how much you'll be able to afford long term. Don't move forward with your plans of getting married until you both agree on your finances. Opie says I asked about the job and he wouldn't give me a straight answer. The frustrating part is that I honestly do not mind downsizing. And if I found out tomorrow he lost a job, I'd literally be fine selling what we have and living in a trailer together off just my income. But this feels like some weird power play instead. A commenter says, I get a feeling that his aim was to try and make you more ambitious. You need to equal him in ability to pay the bills. So you need to either get a promotion or a new job paying the same as him. So, not the arsehole, but your partner is a prick for not thinking things through and trying to strong arm you into doing something without discussing it first. Opie says, I don't know how to go about doing that, all things considered. It's not like there's some magical be rich suddenly button I can press. I'm a preschool teacher and I don't have a college degree, and I certainly can't afford a college degree at this point without asking for help or taking out insane loans. Someone says, if you can barely afford your basic living expenses, why the hell are you driving an Audi or Range? This is a classic example of lifestyle creep. If you barely make enough to contribute to rent, driving a luxury car is shameful. You are not the arsehole. You are just spoiled and an unrealistic person. Opie says he gave me the Audi as a birthday present. It was not something I was aware of until it was in the driveway with a big pink bow and confetti. Literally like a car commercial. He always had a bit of a flair for the dramatic. Someone says, not the arsehole. What podcast does he listen to? Opie says, I don't know in detail. Joe Rogan, I'm pretty sure, and Cumtown, and I think a guy called Sam Hyde. They're apparently funny. I don't super get that kind of humor. So OP does update the post and says, hi everyone, this got way bigger than intended, so I figured a follow-up was owed. The last time I posted was Monday. Monday as a whole was spent just sorting through what I felt and what to do next. There was a lot of silence and a lot of anger and a lot of Reddit advice. Some of which I found very insightful, some of which was less so. Also, some people think I made this up as part of a viral marketing sponsorship between Buffalo Wild Wings, Audi and Zillow, which honestly would solve the money problems if true, but alas is not the case. On Tuesday, after I got home from work, I sort of just walked up to him on the elliptical and explained as calmly as I could that I had questions, and if he actually wanted to marry me, he needed to be willing to answer them. I asked if he thought I was a gold digger, yes or no. He said yes. I told him that I wasn't willing to be in a relationship where I had to prove myself by sacrificing any sort of stability, and that led to a bit of a screaming match and eventually a confession. So, it turns out we cannot afford anything we have right now. We're in serious credit card debt, and the cars were both on the verge of being repossessed. I did not know about any of this. He's been cutting corners on actual necessities, including psychiatric medication. That in combination with some comments from his family led to some pretty dark places. My fiance had a full breakdown and apologized for calling me a gold digger, which was nice to hear. But this whole thing had me pretty shaken up. I went to stay with a friend for a little bit. Yesterday, my fiance and I did in fact go out to BWW and get the 2-for-1 boneless. We talked a lot. I'm still writing fiance for now, and I really hope we can work through all this. We talked about how to sell the cars. We don't particularly have a choice at this point, and about my income, his income, and the sort of life we want to have. If we do stay together, we'll be changing how we live a lot. We need to get out of debt. We need to get on our feet. I know some people are going to say I'm being dumb for not immediately dropping all contact and giving up on the relationship, but I can't do that. I can't look at the guy I love, who went off his meds to try and make a good life for me, and think he's not worth sticking around for, at least to try. I don't know what the future looks like at all anymore though, and the wedding is very postponed at the moment. Sorry this wasn't a more fun update. So someone asked OP below this one, said, OP, has he come clean to you about what got you guys so deep in the hole? For it to get to the brink it did, lifts more red flags in the air. He could be coping with an addiction problem or something else that could destroy your life. You have to figure this out ASAP. Please don't make any wedding plans. This is not the man you wanted to marry. OP says he has. It's not gambling or drugs, like a lot of people are saying. It's an addiction to nice things. He's got a lot of financial hang-ups and come from a family that replaced love with money, so he got it in his head that the only way to show love was to provide a very fancy sort of lifestyle, which was way over budget for us. It's going to be a hard pill to swallow, cutting back on everything, but it's what has to happen. I didn't write everything out in this post, but we did go over how the debt got this bad, and I'm currently aware of pretty much everything. There are some accounts I still need to look at this weekend, but for the most part, it's all above board at this point. We're definitely looking at the relationship, and I'm going to be taking a much more active role in life planning if we do continue. The wedding is on pause for an unknown amount of time, and I'm already looking into places I can afford, and we'll probably end up renting a trailer. And no, I'm not lying for him. I told him point blank that hiding this stuff is what got us into this mess, and he's not going to be able to keep it under wraps if he wants to stay with me. We need to be upfront about our financial situation, whether he's embarrassed or not. I think that with some hard work, we'll both end up in a better position. We need to get out of debt, and I'm taking the reins for a bit since he's never lived frugally before. But if all goes well, we'll get through this. I don't plan to leave if he sticks to what we're talking about and actually takes steps forward. I love this man and I'll fight for what we have. If he won't fix things, won't listen and continue to disrespect me, I genuinely believe that we'll get through this. I know he can do better and I believe he wants to. Now he has to prove it. Someone says don't gloss over the comments from the family. If you marry him, you are marrying them too. If they are generally toxic to his mental health, you need to talk about whether no contact is necessary. If not, he has some serious repair work to do to fix the impression they have of you, or has to take on the job of shielding you from their BS. OP says his family don't like me for a number of reasons. They don't like that I don't have a college degree, they don't like that I grew up in low income or went to public school, and they don't approve at all of the fact that I'm religious. His mother in particular has called me a hick, a redneck, and several other things that I won't put down here. Up until this point though, he's been pretty good about defending me. And someone says, I'm glad that you're able to get the $8.99 2-for-1 boneless with half lemon pepper and half habanero jerk sauce, and to start to work out this stuff. OP says, actually it was $19.49 2-for-1 boneless with half wild sauce for me and half orange chicken for him, but it did help. And someone says, to finish it off, still, this is an ad for Buffalo Wild Wings. And OP says, not if only they'd pay me for the promotion, the problem would be solved. And a lot of people on the comments after this were mentioning how still concerned they are for OP, but now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? If you was OP, how would you deal with it? Could you still see yourself in this relationship trying to make it work? You think it's going to work? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.